Hey, everyone. Blockchain Bernie here. We need to talk today, and we need to talk about MEV and about the extra rewards that you can earn using MEV, maximum extractable value. And I've had another video right here about that subject a few days ago. And I had someone in the comments asking me like, hey, Bernie, your math might be a little bit off. I engaged with him in the comments. It was a great dialogue. But I thought, man, that is something that interests people to really dive into the math and see what MEV on the Solana chain actually means, right? And I do that with the example of our Xandeum validator. So we here at Xandeum, it's a startup. We're building a scalable storage layer for Solana, which is great stuff. So if you haven't heard what we're doing, go to Xandeum.com, our website, and learn more about it. But today it's about our Solana validator, the Xandeum validator, and let's just dive into it. So here we go, and this is independent website, StakeWiz, and it lists all the 2,378 Solana validators. We are one of them, and yeah, today we have a skip rate of 0, so no blocks skipped in this epoch here. 572, a super high voting rate of 97.6%, and a Wiz score, that's that StakeWiz score, independent website, 95.47, uptime 100%. So it's a really, really high performing validator, right? We have an estimated APY of 8.31%. I mean, 8.31%. That's really a lot, but that is just the staking, the Solana staking rewards. It does not include the Jito rewards, right? So the 8.31 was the 0% commission, and we offer additional rewards for MEV, and that's using the Jito system. It's the one and only MEV system on the Solana chain. And for these extra rewards that come on top of the 8.31 that go directly to you if you stake with us, we charge a commission of 8%, as most validators do that support Jito. So look at our moving average here for the Wiz score. So it's really straight going up here. Either way. So what does that all look like? And if you want to stake with us, you get those 8.31% plus additional MEV rewards. And, you know, that's what we're diving into in this little video. How much are those extra rewards? Because StakeWiz doesn't show them here, right? So we'll dive very detailed into the math. And if you like content like this, please, please, please give me that like button. Destroy the like button for me. I thank you in advance. We really, really need it. It's great for the YouTube algorithm. And also, if there's anything you want to discuss here, and this is a complex matter here that I'm diving deep into today, and you probably won't find any content that goes into such detail anywhere on the web otherwise. Please discuss it with me. Just write in the comments. I'm always there and always happy to discuss these things with you. All right, so let's just get back into the thing. So if you want to stake your SOL with us, just go to Xandeum.com. That's our website. And you have that little stake here button. So if you click that, you come to this site. It says stakesol.xandeum.com, and the APY is listed here again. The APY, we take the StakeWiz API to get this estimated APY. So it's exactly the same that appears here on StakeWiz. On other websites in Solana, it might be a different APY for our validator because there's different ways to calculate it. But StakeWiz is the best way because it gives the true APY, so he has a special formula for that. That is most most closely resembles reality, right? So you can connect your wallet here and just stake your Sol with us. You can also unstake it here again, and staking directly with a validator that you trust is still the best way. There's no other guys in between that do a stake pool or stuff or take their cut. All right. So now let's look, how much are the MEV rewards, right? The extra rewards that come on top of the 8.31%. For that, I'm looking for a tool here. It's jido.retool.com. So the Retool offers some stats here directly taken from the blockchain. And the Jido guys that implement the MEV, they have created their own dashboard here, right? So we see here in this last column the net revenue and the MEV revenue in Lamports, right? A Lamport is a 1/1000th of a Sol, right? So these values here, like this is 4,155,000,000, blah, blah, blah. Lamports, which is basically 4.1 Sol, right? So that's what you see here. That's 4.1 Sol, that's 1.3 Sol, 1.19 Sol. So that is all the net revenue, and we also have the kind of gross revenue here. That's the one that we want to look at here. Yeah, so we've had 5.2 here in this epoch, 564. That's not too long ago. We're at 572 right now. Each epoch is about 2 days, maybe a little bit longer than 2 days. So this was like, 2 weeks ago or something like that. We had that big spike here with 5.2 Sol MEV rewards just for our validator, right? So this is for the Xandeum validator. It's not for all of Jido or something like that. It's just for us, right? So let me be clear here, because what I did here in this tool is I entered our validator's vote account here. So this is only for our validator, right? So now, for earlier epochs, it was a little bit less. And, Jido only really started a few weeks ago. They did their token launch. They did their airdrop, which was awesome. So if we look at this column here, the average, like MEV rewards per epoch, 5.2, 1.1, 1.6, 1.4. This is just 0.8, 2.6. And, if you look at it, it seems like, in the future, it might be around 2, right? So that was my assumption here for the near future. But we all want to be aware that MEV is a growing thing, right? And I'll come to that later in that video. I'll show you what can we expect in the future from MEV on Solana, right? But for now, it is just about, what we have here. So I've prepared that little spreadsheet for you. And I made it the average MEV revenue, gross revenue per epoch, per 2 days approximately is 2 Sol, right? So that's what we saw. And then we say we have 160 epochs per year, right? Because if it was like 2 days or so, it would have been 183 or something. I've seen other people calculating with 180 epochs per year. It's probably closer to reality. I would say 170 is probably a conservative estimate here. So 170 epochs per year, and then at 2 Sol per epoch, we're coming out at 340 Sol additional MEV rewards just for the Xandeum validator of 340 Sol, right? 4% of that goes to Jido themselves, 8% is our MEV commission. So our real commission is 0. So for the base APY of 8.31%, we give that all to you, right? We don't keep anything of that. For the GITO, the extra MEV rewards, as most of the validators, we keep a commission of 8% to finance our validator, right? It's 2 servers that have costs like $10,000 each. They are co-located in the data center that charges us a lot of money. And to run the validator, we need to pay fees to pay for all the voting transactions, right? And we need to get up in the middle of the night if something doesn't work, and we have to switch to the backup validator and stuff like that. All right, so that leaves the stakers that stake SOL with the Xandeum validator at 299 SOL in extra MEV rewards on top of the 8.31% per year, right? We currently have a stake around 450,000. Right now it's like 470 something or so. But the average over the last 7 or 10 epochs where we made this calculation for was maybe like 450. So you get an additional APY of 0.07%, right? So the 8.31 would go up with the extra MEV rewards to 8.38, right? Or, yeah. So that is something, right? It's not a big thing as of this moment. And that's because MEV is just starting on the Solana chain. So now I give you a little outlook on what MEV will look like, could look like, and we can compare it to other chains. For example, Ethereum, where there's a lot of MEV going on. It was going on when Ethereum was still proof of work, right? And then MEV stood for minor extractable value. And now with the new proof of stake transition that they did, it's all maximum extractable value. It's still there, but it is a big thing, right? And it's also happening on Solana. It is for so-called searchers that use the best transactions. They want to do arbitrage or things like that, right? They buy some token in the US and then they sell it in Japan or something, right? And they only want to do that if they get the better price in Japan. So they want both transactions, the buy and the sell, executed as one bundle together, right? So either both go through at favorable terms that they want to do. Of course, the trade should be profitable for them, and if not, they don't want to sit on the first transaction, on the buy transaction, and then have a lot of stuff in there, right? And they might not even have the funds for that, right? They might do things like flash loans where they just get the loan for the duration of that bundle. So this is all cool stuff. And there's a lot of money to make, and there's a lot of arbitrage going on, and this will become big, right? It will become some percentage of all the transaction and all the trading that's going on in Solana DeFi sphere, right? So let's have a look at the details here again. If we look at DeFi Llama, right, which is the authority in the DeFi space, so it's highly trusted. All the chains are directly connected to DeFi Llama. So it's not like self-reported or something. DeFi Llama is really proving on the blockchain that these numbers are correct, right? So we can absolutely trust these numbers. So let's look at trading volume on the Solana chain for the last 1 or 2 months or so, right? So it seems like, there was a big spike here around the end of the year and around Christmas time. But if we don't consider that, it seems like we're at 5, 6, 7 million SOL here being traded each and every day, right? Those are daily values here, right? So let's just conservatively assume it's 5 million SOL a day. And let's just assume like 20% of that will be using MEV, right? And we see that on other chains We know arbitrage and MEV is a big thing. So it'll go up to something like 20% at some point in time, right? From the really low percentage that it is right now. So 20% of 5 million SOL is 1 million SOL, right? So we have 1 million SOL in MEV transactions each and every day. So 1 million SOL. So now let's assume what will be the MEV fees, right? The MEV, Jito calls it tips, right? But tips sounds like it's completely voluntary, and it kind of is. But if they don't bid enough of these tips, then their transactions will just never go through, right? It's a market there, and they have to bid a high tip in order to get this baby through, right? And the stakes are high there, right? Usually it's very high volume transactions, arbitrage transactions that are being done there. So yeah, those tips are usually quite high. So let's assume like in the long run, these tips average out at maybe 1% of the traded volume. I think that's a fair assumption, right? So if it's 1 million SOL each and every day, 1% of that is what? 10,000 SOL, right? So 1 million SOL a day, 1% of that in MEV tips, right? So that would be 10,000 SOL, right? And then 10,000 SOL, that would be for the whole Solana chain. How much of that would be for the Xandeum validator? So the Xandeum validator right now has about 0.12% of the total stake, right? So the total stake on the Solana chain, let's have a look at that one as well. We see it here on the Solana Explorer. It's 382 million in active stake on the whole chain. We have like 470,000. So that's like 0.13%. So of these 10,000 SOL a day, 0.13% would go to us, right? 10,000 SOL, 1 per mil, so 0.1% would be 10 SOL, right? And so that'd be the 0.13% would be 13 SOL, right? So sooner or later, if we go back to our spreadsheet here, oops, this can be not 2, but it can be like 13, right? So if we're at 13 MEV revenue per epoch, that'd be 1945 extra MEV revenue, extra MEV rewards for you, the stakers. And that would be almost 0.5% more, right, in your MEV rewards. And if you compound that like over 10 years, it's like 4% more than you would have gotten without the Jito rewards, without the MEV rewards. And if you compound it over 30 years, it's even 13, 14%. So it makes a difference, right? It makes a difference in the long run. It makes even a difference in the short run with these things. And so the extra rewards with MEV, they absolutely make sense, right? And if volume goes up on the Solana chain, so this was all like, it stays at 5 million a volume a day, right? This could easily go up to 50 million, right? It could easily go up to 500 million, right? And then still 20% of that would be MEV rewards, right? So how would that look like if it goes up not at 5 million per day? Oh, by the way, I made a mistake here. The 13 were per day, right? So this is per epoch. So an epoch is 2 days and a little bit, right? So it wouldn't be 13, it would be like 28, right? So the base case that we just had with 5 million trading volume a day. 20% of that is MEV, so that'd be 1 million. 1% of that would be 10,000 Sol, would be MEV transactions or MEV, MEV fees, and then 0.13% of that is for the Xandeum validator, and then times 2 days and a little bit per epoch. So that'd be 28 Sol per epoch, and that would almost be 1% more. So instead of the 8.31 that we have right now, it would be 9.23, right? So that makes a big difference, and that compounded over 30 years. If you keep your Sol there staked, do nothing, just leave it there, buy and hold, Warren Buffett style, leave it there for 30 years, you have 32% more money than if there wasn't any MEV. So that makes a big, big difference, huh? So if you put your money there and the compounding effect is a long, long time, and having 30% more in the end to retire from or stuff like that, it makes a big, big difference. All right, so now what if volume goes up, right? Let's say at some point we don't have like 5 million Sol a day in DeFi trading volume on the Solana chain. We might soon have, maybe a year from now, 500 million, right? Then these wouldn't be 28, these would be 280 then, right? So then the APY, the extra APY that comes just from MEV is almost 10%, right? And then even after 10 years, it would be more than double. It would be, 2.5 of the end amount would be additional just for MEV, right? And after 30 years, it's even 14. We always needed to add a little bit, right? Because this is like 143 on top, right? So, and this is like 13 times on top. So you kind of 14x, more than 14x your money just from the extra MEV rewards. I find that quite remarkable. So again, you can profit from all of that just by staking to our Xandeum validator, because it's supporting Jito here. About half of the stake on the Solana chain currently supports Jito. And again, if you want to stake your Sol, and you should, you get the 8.31, plus you're getting the extra MEV rewards. You just go to Xandeum.com. This is how our page looks like. And then just click the stake here. And then you see this. And then, you can connect your wallet. It tells you how much Sol you have in your wallet. And then just stake all of it or part of it with the Xandeum validator. So again, this was quite a deep dive. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive, and I would encourage you to leave me some comments. We can discuss everything there, and please give me that like button. I would really, really appreciate it, and subscribe to my channel to not miss any content that will be coming up, because I'm posting 3 times a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. All right. Then happy Super Bowl, everyone, later today. And thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Peace.